Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another Top 10 Commander video. Commander Void here again to talk about Kaldheim. We're going to go over my 10 picks, my top 10 for Kaldheim. You do get some interesting mechanics, you do get some snow permanents that you can fool around with. That's of course a big theme in the set. You also have good keywords like Foretell, and we have a lot of these god creatures that can flip into artifacts and enchantments and other things. So let's start it off here with number 10, Realm Walker. A small thing about the set is that they are bringing back changelings, and while there is a small theme around creature types, focusing on tribal support, it's really just about supplementing other good tribal strategies rather than introducing new ones altogether. Cool way that you do that is by adding changelings, and Realm Walker is a pretty cool changeling if you're playing green. Of course, something obviously in green is elves, but you also have slivers, you could have dinosaurs, whatever you want. And Realm Walker, in a similar way to Vizier of the Menagerie from Amonkhet, will pretty much allow you to cast creatures off the top of your deck. They do have to be of the chosen creature type, but when you consider how quick some of these decks can get out of hand, if you're able to fix the top card of your deck, if you're able to easily pay that mana, it can really help you go off on some of your turns. Number 9, we have Yorn, God of Winter. Easily one of my favorite commander options, and I like things that are a bit more specific. It does leave it a little bit lower on the list because of that though, but I think it is a really cool concept to have a snow-themed commander deck, and that's what Yorn, God of Winter can be. You have the powerful ability of whenever he attacks, you get to untap all of your snow permanents, and since he's a snow permanent, he can easily just untap himself. So right there, you have a ton to fool around with, and you also get, if you choose to flip him, you can play Kaldring the Rime Staff, so a 3-mana blue-black artifact. You can tap it and play a target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn, and if you do, it enters the battlefield tapped, so all around it's going to synergize with your snow permanents, going to make it easier to make that a viable strategy, which is super necessary because, well, there's not a lot of snow support to begin with. And number 8 is Toralf, God of Fury. One of my favorite cards to fool around with is Repercussion. And while Toralf is not Repercussion, it can be just as devastating if you play this as your commander with that in mind. Play nothing but cards like Blasphemous Act and anything that can deal a ton of damage to each creature. That way Toralf can deal that excess non-combat damage to any target other than that permanent, which can be really useful if you're looking to burn a player. A lot of tiny creatures that can be dealt a ton of damage with those board wipes, making it pretty easy to win. These commanders don't always work, they tend to have a huge target on their backs for that reason, very easy to win. But the cool thing about these gods is that you get another side here. So Toralf's Hammer, equipped creature has pay 2 mana and tap to unattach Toralf's Hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target, and then you return Toralf's Hammer to its owner's hand. The equipped creature gets +3 power as long as it's a legendary, with an equip cost of 2. Now, all around I think this is a pretty solid commander option, whether you want to throw him in as one of the 99 or build a commander deck around those big burn spells that I was talking about. And then number 7 we have Halvar, God of Battle. Very simple. Kind of like with Toralf, you know what you want to do. Almost immediately you're going to be building a deck around equipment or auras, making it easier to deal commander damage. Now that could of course be with Halvar or it could be with another commander option, but the fact that you're getting double strike for all of those creatures is insane. That's like the number one thing you look for in good keywords, especially when you're looking to deal commander damage. However simple this kind of commander is going to be, there's just no doubt in my mind that that's going to be useful no matter where you want to throw them. Now the flip side is Sword of the Realms, a 2-mana legendary equipment. Equipped creature gets +2 power and has vigilance, and whenever the equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand with an equip cost of 2. Kind of like with Toralf's Hammer, they're not really powerful equipments, but if what you need is an extra equipment to get your strategy going, again, these gods are pretty cool because they can help out your strategy in more ways than just the obvious. Sometimes you really need an extra equipment, maybe to deal lethal damage with another creature. And then number 6 we have Valki, God of Lies. He enters the battlefield and each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, you exile a creature card they revealed this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. You can pay X mana and choose a creature card exiled with Valki. With converted mana cost X, Valki becomes a copy of that card, so it's a really cool clone type of creature. And it gets even better because the flip side is Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, 7 mana Rakdos colored Planeswalker. As he enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tibalt, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells, so even more like a Gonti, and the whole idea is just exiling your opponent's cards and playing them for yourself. The +2 is really powerful. You exile the top card of each player's library, getting you more cards to play. The -3, exile target artifact or creature, so you can be a little bit more selective. And the alt is exile all cards from all graveyards and add 3 red mana. And while that's not a devastating alt, because the static ability is so powerful, it pretty much is. All around, I think this is one of the more entertaining things that you can play in Commander, and things like Praetor's Grasp, Gonti, Lord of Luxury, it's always been about taking advantage of whatever your opponents can do, because anybody can make a deck and then focus on their own strategy, but when you can make the best of what you can steal from your opponents, you're guaranteed to have a different experience almost every single game you play. And then number 5, we have Esika, God of the Tree. Really interesting creature, pretty much making it the first 5-color god if I'm not mistaken. Because the flip side is a 5-color card, you pretty much can play whatever color you want. She has vigilance and can tap for 1 mana of any color, and so do all of your other legendary creatures. I mean, that alone is not bad. And of course you would want some more, which is why the flip side is Prismatic Bridge. So 5 mana legendary enchantment, 1 of each color. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Holy cow, is that insane? And this isn't like just reveal the top card and if it happens to be it, you get to play it. It's you reveal until you get to that card. So you're guaranteed to hit something. Doesn't have to be a good legendary creature, but if it's a legendary creature, and this is kind of what you're building your deck around, that's probably going to be good most of the time. Again, you don't have to play 5-color God Tribal, but that's just an idea. We have a lot of cards that just support strategies that are built around legendary creatures. Of course, let's not forget that getting a Planeswalker for free is never a bad thing either. Number 4, we have Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider. You pretty much get all of the benefits of putting counters onto permanents and putting counters on players. Your opponents can only place half rounded down, while Vorinclex this time around is nowhere near as powerful as where he was back in New Phyrexia. This is still a pretty crazy ability. It's pretty one-sided, which is what the Praetors are well known for, just being incredibly one-sided and overpowered. It just adds more of the same. Redundancy isn't really a bad thing in Commander, especially when you're just getting double the counters. It's why Doubling Season is one of the most expensive cards in the format. It does a little bit more. It's a better card, of course, but adding more of the same is not a bad thing. And I expect Vorinclex to get out of hand pretty easily. Whenever you throw him out there, you have more counter synergies. It's just going to make what was already good even better. And then number 3, we have the World Tree. Now, of course, the limitation of playing a card like this is that it has to be in a 5-color deck. It does have an activated ability with all 5 symbols in that cost. However, this is probably the best card you can play in any 5-color deck now. It enters the battlefield tapped, sure, but once you get to 6 lands, all of your lands tap for 1 mana of any color. So it's a Prismatic Omen on a land. Remember how expensive that card was? This card's even better than that. Oh yeah, and if you feel like paying 10 mana, that's right, only 10 mana, you can cheat into play all of the god cards from your deck. Let that sink in. You have a win con and a Prismatic Omen pretty much on a land. Only drawback is that it has to be played in a 5-color deck. Oh, bummer, right? Just a ridiculously powerful card. And yeah, believe it or not, there are 2 cards I think are even better. So number 2, we have Burning Rune Demon. I thought Runescarred Demon was a pretty crazy card, and I still think it is. It's easy to take advantage of. It's a creature ETB that's a demonic tutor, and I've said this ad nauseum, but demonic tutor is the best tutor because it can bring something straight to your hand. You don't have to reveal it. The downside with Burning Rune Demon, and it's the only downside, you have to reveal the 2 cards that you search for. This is a minor drawback, because you get 2 cards off of an ETB. It's a creature that's 1 mana cheaper, same easy way to take advantage of. Yes, your opponent can have 1 go to your graveyard, but who cares? This is going into every single graveyard deck. This is going into any deck that can easily bring something back from the graveyard, and in many decks, the graveyard is just as good as having something in your hand. And I don't understand Wizards of the Coast these past couple of years, but it just seems like the rich, they keep getting richer. Black is just filled with nothing but power now. And I know for a long time that's been blue. But these top 2 cards are just ridiculous, and Burning Rune Demon. It offers you what is incredibly powerful in any deck, and that's tutoring, but you get easy ways to get to your combo pieces, blink it a couple times, bring it back from the graveyard a couple times, you're going to get pretty much all of your combo pieces. Just ridiculously powerful. Now before I go on to number 1, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. We have Coma Cosmos Serpent. I thought this was a pretty cool creature. You get some kind of serpent theme there. Nothing super powerful, but I thought it was worth mentioning. We have Kaya the Inexorable, I think a pretty decent planeswalker, but a criticism I consistently have for these newer planeswalkers is that they don't really tend to do anything new. In Search of Greatness has potential to be a powerful card. Didn't really interest me that much, but it could get out of hand. You could cheat into play some permanents. We have Orvar the All-Form. This is a cool concept. You target your creatures with instants and sorceries. You get copies of them. Would like to see how this kind of deck is built. It looks like something that could be really powerful. But number 1 is Tergrid, God of Fright. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, Mono Black is just way too good now. This kind of ability on a commander where it's so easy to have Grave Pact effects, where it's so easy to make your opponents discard, there's just no way that your opponents stand a chance if you can just easily steal whatever they're having to sacrifice, whatever they're having to discard, because all that does is just give it straight to the Tergrid player. But that's it, that's all the creature is, it's just a really overpowered ability. And as I said with Valki, God of Lies, and Tibalt, if you can pretty much just play whatever your opponents are playing, it makes your experience a little bit more unique, but it's definitely powerful. Like, you have a really good chance of winning if all you're doing is just stealing all of your opponent's cards. You get all of their good cards, you get all of their card advantage, their board presence, and you take it for your own. Oh yeah, the flip side, if you even care about it, is Tergrid's Lantern. And it could be a way to help enable your strategy if that's what you're looking for. Play other cards like Waste Not and enjoy yourself. But yeah, Tergrid is just ridiculous. There's just no doubt in my mind. It's like going back to 2019 and Throne of Eldraine. Sir Conrad was just ridiculous, and I knew it was going to be in every deck, and it still is. Tergrid is just that, but another step further. There's no way that if you're playing Black in Commander, you're not going to consider this. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this. The top 10 cards from Kaldheim. I'm Commander Void. You all have a wonderful day. Signing off. See you all next time.